Very good afternoon to all of y'all who are joining me in this live interaction of News9's Facebook as well as YouTube page. Now, over the past 6 months, pharmaceutical companies have made various predictions about their COVID-19 vaccine timelines that have turned out not to be true. Now, in one of the recent examples is Pfizer, which said for weeks it would know by the end of October whether its vaccine would work or not. But during an investors call on Tuesday, the company's CEO essentially ruled out that particular prediction made by the company. Now, some of the scientists have also said that do not believe everything you hear because testing and manufacturing vaccines is notoriously very unpredictable. Now, Pfizer isn't the only company that's made predictions that likely will not or did not come true. In April, Sarah Gilbert, an Oxford researcher, told that in the UK, she was about 80% confident that the vaccine being developed by her team would work, even though at that point, Oxford had not even started their phase 3 clinical trials. Now, in order to answer a few questions that surround this particular topic where pharmaceutical companies and even researchers' predictions do not come true, we have with us Dr. Sitesh Roy, who is joining us live from Mumbai. Many thanks for joining me in this live interaction, Dr. Sitesh Roy. My first question is, what do you think about the pharmaceutical companies making predictions and then failing to realize them?
So Deepak, as you rightly mentioned, the entire pathway from vaccine conceptualization to vaccine development, manufacturing is a very, very notoriously unpredictable path. And hence in the past, vaccines have taken anywhere from 5 to 15 years to develop. We are trying to fast track everything and do everything very quickly, and clearly there are roadblocks that come along the way. For example, when the Oxford trial had to be put on hold or the Johnson & Johnson trial had to be put on hold because of some incidences that occurred with the candidates who were enrolled for the vaccination. This is something that you cannot predict, and then after that how long it would take for the regulators and the safety data board that's monitoring the trial to give the approval that no, the events were not related to the vaccine and the trial can restart. That adds weeks of time before the trial can proceed. And every little bit like this, whether it is recognizing that once you have given the vaccine to individuals, the most important next step is to observe and see if people are getting the infection, because they will go out into their regular lives, lead their normal lives, and they might catch the infection, which is a totally unpredictable process again, because if those 20 or 30,000 individuals who are in the trial don't happen to get exposed to a person with the infection and don't happen to catch the infection, the trial cannot be completed, the data cannot be completely analyzed. So there are too many factors in this for which from the very beginning, trusting the numbers or the figures or trusting the timeline has not been the best idea in my opinion.
Now, Doctor, speaking about roadblocks, like you mentioned, what are the roadblocks that are involved in vaccine development, and what is the reason behind their failure of delivering their prediction, Doctor?
So as I said, the first one, when we assume that the phase 1 and the phase 2 trials have been successful, safety of the vaccine and the dosage of the vaccine has been approved, and we now move into phase 3 trials, we are talking about enrolling between 30 to 60,000 individuals at multiple sites across the world in different vaccine trial locations. That itself takes time, and that's unpredictable because they have to meet certain criteria, get the dosages in time. When you do that part, you then have to monitor them for their immune response. So the one thing that we do know is several of these vaccines have shown a decent cellular immune response, that is the T cell response, as well as an antibody response. So that is the second part. And then the third part is monitoring the side effects and monitoring the efficacy of the vaccine. When you're monitoring the efficacy of the vaccine, if the number of cases in an area where the vaccination has been done, if the incidence of new cases goes down, which means they are going into a phase where their cases are fewer and lesser than they were when the vaccine trial began, then the chances of the people who got the vaccine getting an infection reduces. And when that happens, you now have to wait longer to reach what is called the primary endpoint or the secondary endpoint of the trial. Okay. Once you complete all of these phases and you have completed phase 1, 2, and 3 and your data looks strong, the next big roadblock is manufacturing the vaccine. Okay. In that sense, the vaccines which are what we call the mRNA construct vaccines are ones that can be developed more rapidly and produced more rapidly, but even then no technology is foolproof. And so if there is any hitch or any glitch along the way, if you have certain live cells on which the virus has to be grown in an inactivated virus and those cell lines do not function as they should, or some of the supplies that are required for various chemicals and various proteins that are required in the vaccine developed, if there's any glitch in any of them, the production of the vaccine after it has even been approved gets derailed. And so we have to be very conservative in hoping and expecting vaccines. And after all of this, getting the vaccine to the end user, to the human being, to the life that we want to save by giving the vaccine is the next big step in the story. So I really, again, would emphasize, rather than being in the waiting game of waiting for a vaccine, taking care of ourselves here and today with all the precautions and protections is really what we need to focus on, and keeping our immunity at its best.
Right, doctor, like you mentioned, safety protocols will help us. But now, doctor, we all know that the spread of a virus is very unpredictable, and even vaccine experts say that's exactly why pharmaceutical companies should avoid making predictions. So don't you think that they should avoid making predictions?
I completely agree with you, Deepak, and many a times what they do is they give an estimated timeline in which they expect or hope for something to happen, and very soon media takes it to a whole different level, saying that the vaccine is here, everything is ready. So I think that there is a certain social responsibility for human beings hearing the messages, for media outlets that announce the message to be realistic and practical in what the message is being given, and tell people that this is an expected timeline, not a definite timeline. And if we do that, I think we will prevent, as I would call, a lot of heartache and a lot of shattered hopes that people may have who were expecting to have a vaccine before the US elections could be held. But now they are being told that probably it will be towards the end of the year and availability will be next year in the first quarter. So I think realistic expectations, and I do believe that the pharmaceutical companies need to be cautious about what they say, because the announcements have a whole different impact on the stock market, as we know. And that again is a different story which leads to financial gains or losses for people. So in many ways, I think that we need to take everything with a pinch of salt, as I would say it, and continue to wear our mask, continue to maintain physical distancing, continue to not touch our face, mouth, eyes, nose once we have been in public places or around other people, and also do our hand washing and hand sanitizing sincerely, because that's really what works and has been shown to work so far. We'll have the vaccine when we'll have the vaccine. We can pray for it, but we definitely don't have to keep going in these roller coasters that it's there, it's not there, it's coming, it's not coming.
That's true, doctor. Like the doctor clearly mentioned, safety protocols are the only way ahead. Many thanks for joining me in this live interaction, Dr. Sitesh. Now, like the doctor mentioned, predictions come with a lot of expectations from the people. People will start expecting the vaccine to be ready in a very short period. And as we all know, expectations often lead to disappointments. And the predictions so far made by many of the pharmaceutical companies have only been that they've only led to disappointments among the people, because they have not delivered on their predictions. So let's not pay heed to all these predictions. Let's not let our guard down as well, because at a time when there is no vaccine and there is only predictions, all we can do is follow all the safety and precautionary measures, because that is the only weapon that we have in order to fight and defeat COVID-19 in this current era. So if you guys have liked this piece of information that I've shared with you all today, please do drop in your comments, and also like, share and subscribe to News9 Digital on various social media platforms. Many thanks for joining me.